Welcome to part 13 of the XW restoration, and this one wound up being over an hour long, so I've cut it in half. So I've got part 13 and part 14 ready, and I'll upload them accordingly. But the reason I didn't want to leave it an hour is it can get a little bit dry, a little bit boring, and I wanted to concentrate on a bit on finishing the body off, which is part 13, and doing a little bit of wiring on the bench, preparing the loom to put in, that sort of thing. So that's going to be 13, and in part 14 we'll talk a little bit about putting it together, starting to put it together. So there's quite a lot that's happened. Finishing the body work took quite a while, but the actual bits of reassembly is quite good fun, so I'll sort of whiz through a little bit of that. You can probably see a bit of it there. So this is part 13. Part 14 I'll bring out probably tomorrow, and hope you enjoy it. Well, I set away for some vinyl samples, and what I got back, that's the original dust colour, which is sort of a greyish blue, was this, which doesn't work at all, and also that, which is pretty dreadful. But I mean, they're beautiful colours. That's great if you've got an EH Holden or maybe a Mustang. I think even the XY's had a colour similar to that electric blue, but we can't use it in there. The other thing I thought about was a houndstooth insert, and this is an American product, and I think it works out about $30 a metre, or $30 a yard, which is $200 a yard cheaper than what they're charging for here for the original stuff. And I don't really give a toss about that, but there's all different colours, but the only one I reckon I could get away with was white, and even then it's too clean. It almost needs to be, if you look at the back of it, that would almost go, but I'm still not convinced with that. I'm going to have to look around for other samples, or at least find something that's going to match that properly, because it's a very, very difficult colour to match. Bloody touch-up gun's died, and part of the reason is it's neglected, and I actually feel really embarrassed about this. I didn't even know it's got a sort of removable jet inside it, which I can't get out, and I need to figure out, because what it's doing is it's dribbling, it's pissing like a racehorse, so I need to get that jet out. I'll go over to the bench and see if I can get it out. Yeah, don't neglect your tools like this, ladies and gentlemen, because if you do, they'll stop working, just like mine have. And this thing, I put a bit of primer in it, and then because I had the paint all mixed in the pot, and I just ditched it in, I dumped it into the other one, and resumed what I was doing, and then of course it dried. And what primer does is it's full of sedimenty type stuff, obviously, and so when you reduce it in the can, when you sort of thin it down in the can, it gets a, well, this is an example, it's in a coffee mug, but you can see all that's just sediment there, that can be chucked out. When it's unreduced, it stays sort of, you can stir it up quite easily, but when you thin it out, of course, it all settles and it'll clag your gun up, so you can't leave primer in your gun. Now that doesn't matter so much with this one, because I'm pulling it right down to every last piece to give it a good clean out, but it's really sort of suffered, this thing, so I need to try and fix it, because I need to use it. If it's shot, I actually don't care that much. I'll buy a new one. These are only cheap. I think this one, I bought this 10 years ago, and I used to look after it, but I haven't for a long time, and now it's just sort of expired, you know, it's had it now, but you can get a lot of use out of them. But this was just a cheap thing. This was really cheap. I think I got it at Bunnings or something, but that's a good one, that gun, and gets a lot of use. But I always make sure I clean that one properly. I'll just get some gun wash or some clean thinner, and I'll go through this again, but that's actually a lot cleaner now than it was. But you can buy these sorts of things online very reasonably, and they're not great quality, they're really not, but at the end of the day they serve you well for a few years, and if you have to replace them or whatever when the parts wear, because these things wear on the needle, then you can just sort of ditch them and get new stuff. So I'll run some nice fresh thinner through there. Now this thing was running out, it was dribbling, So, just stick a bit of thinner in it. And here's this. Okay. Oh, good. Yeah, it was just running. But I couldn't see, there was a little bit of foreign stuff in there, but I couldn't really see what was causing all the grief, but that's good. Oh, that's good. That means I can do the radiator support panel around the windows and the lights as well. Right, don't use newspaper to do this. I'm just using a touch-up gun to get into the plenum all over the place. I missed a few parts of the full-size gun. Don't use newspaper though, it looks terrible. The moment you get newspaper out and do this, everyone knows you're a backyard amateur like I am. But I'm just going in there with the gun turned so it hasn't got any fan, it's just a spot, if you know what I mean. Because whenever I look at a car, I always notice in the plenum chamber. Yeah, I missed a bit here. I've been texting Neil, my friend in Queensland, who I grew up with, and we were sharing some very, very amusing stories about playing soccer at Lipscomb Park in Croydon, where we went to school, and I kept stuffing up my masking and everything, and he stuffed up the painting on his house, laughing about it. There was this guy that had an EH and an HR Holden with cut-off exhausts, and we were playing soccer, or trying to play it, and he kept flying past us in this old car with the exhaust cut off, no rego, no roadworthies. The cars were absolute bombs, but he'd put one away, and then we thought he was finished, and he'd come up in the other one and start doing it again. It was absolute classic. I'm going to keep going. We'll start doing all this, I just want to keep overspray down. I don't want anything getting in the engine bay. And it'll stand out like a sore thumb if I get it wrong. So I'm just going around with this touch-up gun. This is just black acrylic, it's not even the satin stuff. Just to get in. Probably should use a full-size gun, but I just don't want it for this. And the same around the window surrounds and that sort of stuff. It really, I have to be quite careful with it. I'm going to turn this up and continue. No, I'm not. My son's over there, doesn't want to get filmed. Very dodgy with newspaper. Please don't use newspaper because paint can bleed through it. So I'm going to get judged on that, but now I've got to unwrap it all to make sure I didn't shoot any black onto the white. But I've done this, I haven't done this satin, I've done it in a gloss acrylic, which will go unbuffed if you know what I mean. But around the windows and between the taillights I use the satin. Also done it up under the dash pad. And you don't see any of this, so it doesn't really matter, but just want the old GX to look good. Well, this looks pretty good. I'm fairly happy with that. Got the radiator support all painted and kept it the white on the back side. A couple of stuff ups though. Didn't mask very well down there, so I've just got to shoot a bit of colour there. And this line here, I screwed up. You don't see any of this. The windshield seals along here, and so I don't think that's such a big deal, but I want to kind of do it anyway. And also in this corner here, I've got a bit of overspray there, and it's lifted, so I haven't done a very good job preparing that area, but the rest of it looks pretty good. I'm fairly happy with that. So got to start doing around the windows now, and I've got to use I'll use the satin for that and around the taillights, and I'll make a start sort of masking it up reasonably soon, but I can't do this today because that black's all too soft, and so I'll get into that tomorrow. The camera, it's being a pain. This disc I've been talking about, there's mild steel and there's also stainless. This is the mild steel one. And the issue with those is they let go of all these little fibres. You can see, well, not fibres, wires on the ground. This one there. I don't know if the camera can see it, but anyway, they flick off and they'll stick in your clothing. And one of them stuck in my leg, and it broke off in there. And I didn't even know. There's a little mark down there where it's been broken off. And I didn't know till the following day. I'd had a shower, and I was driving my wife the following morning around, and I felt it sticking out. It had started coming out, and it was in there a full 6 to 7 millimetres. I didn't even know. So just be very careful of those things. Whatever you do, make sure you wear goggles and this sort of stuff, because they're very, very dangerous. Alright, so I've been doing a bit more painting around the windows there. We'll look at that in a sec. Yeah. Very good.
Not really.
Doesn't matter. I'll have a crack in a sec. We've done the I've painted halfway into the gutter, just so the chrome sort of, or the stainless trim, it doesn't show any white under here. This is it here. It's all painted under here. It's all good. Yep, really, really, really. Bit too glossy for my liking. This is supposed to be satin. Obviously put it on too thick. A couple of little tiny mistakes like that, but I can get rid of those. That's cool. Under there, same deal. Dash. I've touched up the bits I needed to touch up there, and also here on the front radiator support. Touched up the bits behind that had bled through in that corner down there, and we had a little bit of overspray here, so I've redone that as well. I think these initially were painted sort of up under here and halfway into the A. Don't give a toss. Not going to do it that way. Don't care. Sounds arrogant, doesn't it? But I really don't care too much about that. So I've done under there as well, and the B. The B looks really nice, and down the C as well, same as the other. And of course I've painted these and put the torsion springs in, then peeled all the paint off, which was really stupid because I didn't use a blade. So I've got to touch up around there, made a hash of that. So I've got to just redo some work in the boot, and the worst part of all is under there. And I've got seam sealer. I've taken all the deadener away from that seam there, and I've sealed it. Don't know if you can even see there. Got to clean under the car, got to re-deaden that, and once that's done, I can call paint guns finished until the spring. What do you think, Alana Banana? Do you like it?
I don't like it, but it looks good.
I like it. Alana's of the same opinion my brother is, that it's a pity to do two cars the same colour, but we've sort of got matching ones, I guess. But it's a fresh, classic colour.
It's a bit bland.
Bland, yeah, and it will look bland. But once the doors are on, and we've got some. Where's that trim? That chrome trim I had?
This? Oh.
No, that one. Oh, here. Once this is on, so what we're trying to do is we've got to paint in here. That's got to be black in there because this sits over, and that's round for a Falcon 500 in Fairmont. And once we put that on, it's sort of an off round shape, and so we need to. You got the camera?
Yeah.
So we need to, and it's. See, the round part goes under. There's a lip under there and there where it's up flush there and there. So what I thought I'd do is I'd paint in there, because when we put the cap on, it's going to look a little bit odd if it's got white showing through. So that, because the cap's black, and so that's what we're doing at the moment. Once it's colour sanded, that'll be glassy. You'll be able to see yourself in it, and that will immediately improve its appearance. Now on the back part here, there's some stuff after that. I can get some 2000 wet, I can rub that out. And I've also got that bit, but there's a chrome strip that sort of comes around there. I think it's chrome, I'm not sure. I don't know. But that looks wrong. And but that's how the original was. It was like that. I've got to clean that up. And I thought it would have gone down sort of parallel to that where the GTs went, but this doesn't, of course, it's in there. But that's covered up by the bumper bar, so I don't know. That's right. She's done it again. This time a bit faster, and I think that'll be alright. No, see, it's got to be out. I need a pencil. I was going to do what a chippy does. They use their middle finger, this one, yeah? And they hold it against the edge and they run
Wait,
across
show me again, I didn't see.
this one. And you can get it a perfectly straight line by running your finger down. That's what carpenters do. So I was going to run my finger around the inside to make a line, but that's no good because I'm going to wind up with a circle. And what I need to do is, it's all looking good, but we've got to reveal, or we've got to pull those bits between those lines away and make them wider. So I might just cut them. I don't know, what do you think?
I would stop right now, have a cup of tea, think about it, and just...
Well, yeah.
Because I think you have it perfect. I wouldn't
but you
go
would
messing
see,
it up.
yeah, but the black only goes up to that line there. But at least if I run around here, I'll get some idea. The idea of this is we don't see any of that blue. So it's wider there. Puffed out that, there's a little step there, so I have to redo that. But you don't see any of this, I'm just being a stickler. So if I put that there, Bob's your uncle, baby. Look at that. What do you think?
My uncle is called John.
Your uncle's called John, yeah, I know. But... Okay, so what we can do is you can just get normal tape, we can mask around here, mask behind it, shoot that up with black, and we're good to go. So I'm fairly happy. I've got the plenum chamber all painted inside. You can see in there, it looks lovely. So if you ever stick your beak in there, you won't see any sweet cream or anything. And I've also redone here where the overspray was. Whoops, I'm caught. And so the painting on the shell itself is nearly finished. All we've got to do, and again, sorry about the newspaper, I've got proper masking paper. But it's my brother's house, so I've been stuck with newspaper, which is really dodgy. And of course I've just painted in here for the cap that'll only help me mask off. So we'll take that off and have a look. Not particularly, no.
But I'll have to because it gets packed really quickly.
Hang on, which way does this go? It goes back. Oh, I see. Hang on. Okay, and we're just going to get this bit off now. Where's that ring?
Do you want me to try?
Yeah, right. Can you get that off?
Sure. Hold the camera.
Oh, good. So that'll come off that mark there, so that's cool. And then when we put this on, hopefully we don't see anything except what we're meant to see, which is, that's cool, excellent. So, where are my blades? This is the cap, and thankfully the guy that painted this before didn't use a primer, so we can just get that paint off. And I forgot, because I'm a genius, to etch prime it today. I should have etched it today. It's getting dark now, but anyway, I can get all that off and I'll paint it and that'll sort of sit in there. But because of the shape, I don't want to be able to see any white around it, so that will work super duper well. And I'm happy with that. That's cool. That's going to look really, really good. Thanks for your help, sweetie. But the rest of it doesn't look too bad. And what do we got? And one there too. Look at that. That's where the tape sort of came out. Even though this isn't visible, that overspray, I'm going to redo that. I just don't like overspray, and my pet hate is on wiring. We can't have any overspray wiring at all. I couldn't get this out. For some reason that block connector was getting caught up there, so I wrapped that up in shopping bags and pulled it through from the other side, so it was well and truly masked. So it's only wire, it's the only article left in the car. But I am very, very happy with it. Well, I'm going through the early stages of starting with a pre-assembly, wiring things, what are they, clips, engine mount plates, idler arms, stuff like that. And I'm just going through these boxes. Front shockers, they're the things that go into those, and that'll get them out the way so they can go on. I'm just sort of browsing around. There's the wiper motor. I've got a couple of wiper motors down there. I'll keep them close at hand, maybe put them in a smaller box. And of course, one of the first things we've got to look at is wiring. And here's a boot light. It all needs to be cleaned up, and that's the earth strap for the rear demister. And of course the rest of it is in here. I've got to go through these to ascertain what they are, and I've labelled them all. And this is the loom, that's the intermediate loom that goes between the front and the rear looms, and I think that's exactly the same as the one that's in the car now. Judging by the plugs and the pinouts, I'll just check all that. I think that's easy enough. But of course I need, that's the rear loom. The first one I'm worried about is the engine loom. that goes into the cabin and joins up with the dash loom. So that's the one that I want to look at now. There are some other ones. That's the boot light as well. So I've got two of those. They're brake switches, and I'm about to do the pedal box, so they're useful. So I'll go through all this and keep the ones out that are relevant for now. But I will use these. I need these ones, and they're the courtesy light. Front and rear courtesy light looms. And that's the interior light. I'm putting that map light in, so I need that one too. So, and of course these are the courtesy lights, and I've got, none of these are particularly great in terms of quality, but I've got, I think, 5 of those lamps. Some of them have had the plug cut off, which isn't much good to me, but for now I can put these in. And I don't even think I'll bother painting those. I'll just wipe them down and put them in. That's going to be fine. And the rest of this stuff I'll just sort of chuck in a plastic bag, because I'll need these bits over here relatively soon. This is of course the engine loom out of the ZH, and I'm going to modify this because, being a Fairlane one, it has a few differences, like it has 4 headlights instead of 2. But not just that, it had also been meddled with a little bit. And I'm going to do a little bit of fiddling with it as well. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, or one of the first things I'm going to do, is to remove the resistor wire for the coil. I don't want a 7-volt lead, or feed I should say, going to the coil. I want 12, because I intend to use an electronic ignition. So I've unravelled some of it, but I'm going to unravel the whole lot. And what I'll do, that's the wiper motor there. It's fairly easy to work this out. That's the neutral start. And of course I have the auxiliary loom to plug into that. So it bridges your 2 starter wires and just runs your 2 little leads for your reverse lights down to the neutral start on the single rail. I'm going to take all this off, and you can see it's been messed with. And it's also had some, I don't know what that's for, some great big relay put somewhere. I can't remember where that was, but I'm going to take all this apart and modify it accordingly. The headlight wiring I'll do in the car. The resistor wire I'll take out on the bench here. I've just got to sort out how it all goes and where it's all headed. But you know, a lot of this stuff's fairly good, but I can't use some of it. You know, this arrangement here for high and low beam separate lights is going to have to go. So, okay, that black thing there's your resistor wire. That rubbery sort of silicon covered stuff, even though it's rubber. I don't think it's silicon, I think it's rubber. That goes to your coil, that's your main feed. So all of that goes right up here, and these tend to get warm. And the problem with these things is when you use a coil of the resistance that's not specified by Ford, they can get quite warm, and I want to avoid that because I don't feel like a bonfire or melted wiring. So I'm just going to take all this tape off, and it's a messy job, but I'm just going to press on and see where it leads us. Now if you're a stickler for originality, you can leave this resistor wire in the loom and just run another one with this thing terminated, so it can be refitted later. But there's nothing original about this car, and I would sooner just get rid of it. But what we can do is take off all this old stuff, and where the exit point is for some of the cables, this is the one for the brake. Oh, let's drop something. This is the one for the brake master cylinder switch. Is I'll just wrap the loom again there, just so I know precisely where the exit point was. Because sometimes when you're threading these looms, they can be a little bit unruly because you've taken all their stability out by removing the tape. So let's get a bit of this. Less than ideal, but at the end of the day it doesn't matter that much. And I can just put that around, and therefore I know precisely where that exits, if you know what I mean. And by doing that and excluding that resistor wire, and we can see that resistor wire is just sort of joined on the inside here. This looks pretty manky, this grommet. It's got like a sealing lag all over it, so I'll have to muck around with that to tidy it up. But now I know precisely where it is, I can cut that. And with things like this, you know, if it's cleaner on the bottom, I'll just rotate the grommet around, and then sort of push it back, tape it, then bring it back over. At least to sort of attempt at making it look good. Because I don't like new looms. My brother's using one on his Mustang, and it's XSY here and 32 circuits and all this sort of other crap, and you don't need it. You can just use the old looms, the old fabric coated ones. You do need new safe looms, but these ones are plastic, and even if they've been metal with, heat shrink tubing, soldered joints, just as good as a new replacement. They fit better because they're original. I wanted this loom because we have a lovely set of big power feeds to it for all our accessories, and of course this guy didn't come with the loom, so this was off the donor car, which is a real win. This is all temporary, and also this aftermarket relay that was put in for the headlights. It was a double relay, so low and high beam. That's not a bad idea to have that. This has been put in later, and you can see there where they've joined the wiring to counter for the relay. So those wires there can really just be brought back up to here. Oh, the crows are out. Alright, so that's virtually done. I've left the rolls of wire there. I've just got plus and minus. I'll remember what that is. And it's all labelled. I worked all that out. Right, well, we had this aftermarket relay put in later, and I don't want that. Relays are a good thing, but I don't necessarily want where they've put it. So if I do need a relay later, I'll just put one in. But I can just rejoin those, and I have a stock looking loom. I'm after a stock looking car. I don't want crimp terminals and aftermarket relays hanging around. So by having a soldered joint, goes all the way around. It's a reliable connection, and we won't get drawn with it later on. So that's the tape I'm using. It's the Netto stuff. It's around about $1 a roll or something. It's not very expensive. And I've done the modifications up here, so I've got the tack feed there, and I'll put a single connector on like that. I want it so it's all sort of plugger-inable, so to speak. That bit for the neutral starts, and I think that's oil pressure. Yep. I haven't terminated that, or I haven't at least taped it down, so I don't know where the engine's going to sit. But all this can be done. The relay's all gotten rid of, and so I'm just running this down, probably till I run out of tape. And all the other modifications are up the front of the loom, so it's all good. I can tape this off, clip it against the frame of the car, and I don't need to revisit this part, hopefully. So I've got a nice big power feeds in there on our Fairlane loom, which is going to be winning the car. So I've got some of the loom tied up now, but it is ready to go in. But before we put that in, I just wanted to show you this stuff, and I've done underneath the car, and it is horrible black goopy stuff, and it's you just use this gun to put it in. There's not much in there. You can see it's just a little bit down the bottom, and as I said, this is the dregs. So there's not, I've cross-threaded it, there's not much in here, so I'm going to need another drum to do the underneath the front arches properly. I've still got that cross-threaded, but I don't know if I'll bother. I'll just do in the areas where it looks as though, that's better, it looks as though the stones and so forth off the wheel are going to cause issues. Basically just a spray on deadener. Like that, so I'm sort of just going round the front. I'm not going to go too far in there, just in case it blows through on the engine bay. Well, that was actually really unsuccessful because it's run everywhere, but we just use an air blower just to stop it running until it sets. I only sort of wanted it around where stones were likely to come off from the wheels when the car's running, but I am going to have to I think I'm going to have to go and get another bottle of it. So sorry about that, it was a bit of a failed experiment. At any rate, to clean the gun we can just use a little bit of terps. This is what's so good of it, you get it all over you. I did under the car yesterday and it was covered in the stuff, and you just a rag in terps, and so it's a bit gentler on your skin than what thinner is, and to sort of clean it, you can just fire it into a rag. And you can see there. That's all you need to do to clean the thing out. It's messy, grotty stuff, but it does a really good job in the car. So, now I've got all over me. Just wipe this gun off and put it away. I'll have to get another container of it, I would think, because I don't think what I've put on is going to be nearly enough under those arches. So now we have a lovely blank canvas XC. Oh, I've got to move my welder, I can't get through here. And I'm happy with it. You can see here it's orange peeled, that's okay, that'll all rub out. Down on the guards, you can see it's very fairy, but it's smooth. It's not powdery at all, and that's a really good thing. A bit of 1000 grit paper on there, wet sanded, followed by 2000 grit and a buff, and you'll be able to see your reflection beautifully in there. All the blackouts are done. And I've redone the boot and I still hate it. I'm not happy at all with it. And I used stupid paint. I shouldn't have used the paint I used in it. But we live and learn. Up here, same deal. All the blackouts are done. A couple of tiny touch-ups. That can be later. And so tomorrow I'll just take all this masking off and we'll start fitting it out. Well, I ran out of that spray deadener and I've just got this other brush on one now. I've had this can for years and I've thrown some up here and I'm just sort of stippling it on with just an old kitchen sponge, and it'll do the same sort of thing and give the same effect as what the other did. But I don't want to buy another can because I'm only going to use a bit of it and I'll have to throw it out. And also I don't like the fact that I'm sort of spraying it in here and there's white everywhere. I really don't want it to be affected, so, or the remaining paint to be affected, so I'm just doing it this way. And what this will do is it'll give the same protection and won't be visible. So cover up some of those run marks from the other stuff. The other was just dregs out of the two bottles that I mixed together with a bit of turbs. And it, you know, it wasn't satisfactory. It was a bit of a fail actually. But anyway, that'll do. And that'll dry to be just the same as the other. Spent quite a few hours on my back cleaning under here, and I'm on a creeper at the moment. You can see it's all sort of coated with the deadener. I've done that exhaust shield in a flame-proof paint. I didn't want this stuff sort of burning. And oddly enough, this is a factory dual exhaust car, but it didn't have another shield over that side. But yep, it's all sorted out and looking rather good. So I've just got to go and do a couple of little touch-ups and we should be good. So as far as painting is concerned, we're just about finished. About the only thing I need to do is I might paint the sill black. I think they did have some black on them. I just need to find one that's to compare it to. I know this one had it sort of below that line there, but I don't know how far up the sill it comes. I think the top stays the body colour above that stainless trim. I'm not sure. I just need to see that, but that's very quick and easy to do. And I also haven't painted the transmission support legs that go sort of further back. I'm going to brush paint those as well. I've got that all dirty standing on it. And of course here's the stippling all dried. It gives a very, very similar result as what spraying it does. As well as under the caster rod supports and under the cross member. I'll just do that with a brush because overspray is a bit of an enemy. So we're now ready to start assembling our Fairmont GXL. So, hope you've enjoyed it. Enjoy your classic and I'll see you later. Ta-da!